Welcome to another episode of The Three Count. I am here with Benny,
What's
and
going on, everybody?
Jaquan is on vacation, uh, trying to beg Sasha Banks to come back, and hopefully we'll see him soon with some good news.
We'll see about that.
So today, pretty much, we're going to go over a couple items here. Click down below on the description for the points of discussion. It'll be the contracts regarding Luke Harper, Sasha Banks, personnel changes that keep going on in the background. Road Dogg, who left the creative team, and now also D. Malenko resigning. Then we're also going to talk a little bit in short about the TV ratings, and then we will be talking about also the other additional moves that happened this Raw and SmackDown. People being moved over. Uh, the War Raiders get another name change,
Hmm.
and then the Kevin Owens heel turn and why it happened. And so let's start off with the contracts for Luke Harper and Sasha Banks. So what's going on now is, from what I heard last, that they are making Luke Harper, who wants to leave, they're telling him that because you were out this much, you're going to extend your contract that amount, which ends up being 6 months, which takes him out. Instead of leaving in November, he's now leaving sometime next year around WrestleMania, or I think it's after WrestleMania,
Mhm.
which is crazy because the fact that even when he came back, nobody knew he was back.
Yeah, he kind of just showed up in the. Well, he did have that match at Access
Mhm,
against Dijakovic,
mhm.
and because that's me, predicting the single name change when he gets up to the main roster. That's what they're gonna call him. They're not gonna call him Dom. Um, But and then after that, he just kind of just appeared with no fanfare. Kind of the same thing that happened with him Moon in the WrestleMania, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He came out there. He had a nice little, the nice little stare down of what could have been him and Braun Strowman going at it, and then it just turned into a big schmoz with everybody attacking him and everything.
Mhm.
And then next thing you know, he's putting up really heartfelt messages up on Twitter, thanking everybody from top to bottom in the WWE and the WWE universe, saying like, thank you for the time, but it's we need to have this amicable split. I think it's best for the both of us. And I'm surprised. Like,
Yeah, I think that was a problem because of the fact that he said he wasn't going to renew, and then
mhm,
like Vince and everybody were like, "Oh, you're not. Oh, and your contract ends right around there." Because if I'm hearing things correctly, AEW is supposed to have a TV deal that starts around October,
yeah,
so he pretty much comes out, and then he's gone. Even if you
mhm,
wait 90 days, he's gone. He's gonna be right on their show. They'll have a show. So they're like, "Oh, we're gonna extend you longer. We're gonna extend your contract because you were hurt and we couldn't use you."
mhm.
So they did that just to screw him more to avoid him going to AEW. Like that's the game right now for them, is not having people jump ship.
Yeah. And you know what kills me about like the Luke Harper situation? Like Harper himself wasn't hurt. Rowan was hurt. Harper, because of the fact that he was working with another injury that he was working through, went out and decided that he wanted to get surgery and everything to correct it. While okay, creative doesn't have anything for you, like a whole bunch of other people in the WWE. He's like, all right, while they don't have anything for me, let me get my stuff together. I'll go out there, I'll get fixed up and everything, and it will be fine. And he's been fine, except creative didn't have anything for him again.
Nope. And he's a good wrestler. I like him.
Yes.
He puts on some good matches. Good
Mm-hmm.
matches. Moves good for a big man. Like he's if they could have figured out something for him, I think he could have been somebody they could put a strap on.
Yeah.
Probably
And
the mic skill is not there, but you give him a voice, you give him a Paul Heyman, you give him a Bray Wyatt or somebody.
mhm.
I think he could run with it. He could run with it.
You know what he reminds me of? And it's like it's more so the look than anything else. And I'm not talking about like everything. I'm just talking about the look on his face at times. He reminds me a lot of Sid,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, Sid. I mean, granted, again, this is back in the day. Sid got pushed to the moon. So
Oh
why
yeah.
couldn't Luke Harper? Luke Harper, just as talented, if not better.
Yeah. Oh, he's so much better. Sid was like a power wrestler, straight
Hmm.
up power. Luke is like he does power, but he also has like some technical, and he could do a little bit of high flying. Like he's very good, man.
Hmm.
People don't realize this, so it's like I kind of want them to just let him go, so that he can go to AEW, because I'm sure they'll do so much better with him over there.
Yep.
Yeah, and Sasha, they're screwing her even worse.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
getting screwed
Yeah. Like
worse. Like no jelly,
I,
nothing.
I've been over my gripes when it comes to Sasha, um, and I had to honestly put somebody in check earlier on YouTube where they basically came out and were saying something like, "Well, Sasha and Bailey, they're out there, they're on TV." They're saying they actually brought the revival into it as well, saying like, "Oh, well, people like Sasha Bailey, the revival, at the very least, they're on TV, they're being used." No, that's not how this works. All right, if you are an A+ talent being used in D- situations, yes, you are going to be frustrated with your positioning, especially when you're a pioneer for your division.
Hmm.
I don't get this. I honestly don't get the idea that some people have where it's just like, okay, well, you're here, so you should just be happy with what you have. You know, as people would kill to be in your position. Yeah, and you know what? She's in her position because she worked her ass off. So that's actually kind of funny. Skype just came up saying my mic was rubbing against the zipper on the. Nice. Um, but yeah, like I don't understand stuff like that. And now because of the fact that like her the way her contract is set up, she's in a really bad position. Although, if you want like technically, if you're not going to use me the way you want to, then I will sit home and you go ahead and pay me. I'll keep myself in as nice a shape as I possibly can. I'm not going to be in ring shape when I get out of that contract, but it is what it is. It ain't going to take me long to shake the rust off. The rest of my whole life. It
Yeah,
counts for me.
it's so annoying they're gonna do her like Neville. I mean, I understand she signed a new 3-year contract,
Mm.
and it's like a power struggle right now between her and WWE. But it's like you said, it's like they're not even using it right, and it's
No,
like you mentioned before, this girl they can't even give her a long title reign.
no.
It's like okay, we'll give you the belt so that we can say you can say and people can say you actually had a belt.
Hmm.
But again, it comes down to look further. Like I've
Yeah,
been saying before, you can say women's revolution, you can say they've had this, but if you look deeper and you look behind the scenes and why things were done, it wasn't because of that. It was because they
no.
had other things that happening that they twisted around like, oh, we'll do it and we'll spit it this way and we'll still look good and we'll still get things done that way.
Yeah.
And
And like I was
it's
sitting up there, I was sitting up there trying when I was putting the statistics together last week for all of the women's title reigns and everything like that. I didn't sit up here and bring this into it because partly because I didn't actually think it up at the time. But if you actually put the four horsewomen minus Charlotte and take all of their title reigns, including Becky, who's been a champion longer than the other two, put all of them together including the tag title reign, and it still doesn't equal up to Charlotte.
no, she's won like 8 times
Yeah, she's won 8 times. It's not even
alone.
so much like the wins. It's like if you look at how long she's been a champion, and I'm talking about going back towards the Divas Championship. The Divas Championship, when they changed it over to the WWE Women's Championship and then converted that to the Raw title,
Mm.
that entire time, like I said, I think what was it? It was like 650 something days, and the other ones, like if you add them up together, ends up like just like under 500. How?
Yeah, and it's the whole blonde thing. Like look at it this way: Becky's Becky's defending her title, Money in the Bank against
Two
two
blondes.
women, two blondes.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte, okay, I can understand. You can make an argument. She beat Bailey, whatever. Da 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 da. But then you got Becky against
Lacey,
Lacey,
yeah,
who all she's done right now is walk down the ramp halfway and then walk right back up.
she has legitimately had one singles match, one
With
singles match since she was called up, and she almost killed her opponent.
yeah, Yeah.
So, like, I'm not sure how anybody can justify her being catapulted up to the top. And then, like I brought up again last week, I can't deal with the fact that they sat up there and you want to push the idea of this women's revolution and then insinuate that your number one contender for the Raw title slept her way to a championship opportunity.
Yeah. It's just, and then you say you want to keep it PG.
Yeah, that's very counterproductive in my eyes, and I don't understand why nobody sees that. That's
No.
actually in a position to do something about it.
Yeah. Which I guess would come around to why Road Dogg left the creative team because of all these last minute changes.
Yeah.
He got tired of it. It's like, well, because from what I'm reading, what he does is he's like in meetings like every day and at any time of the day.
Yeah,
So we're
he
talking
has to be
about,
available for all of these meetings and everything, and we're talking like stuff that could pop up at 2 o'clock in the morning and all kinds of other nonsense.
hmm so then he's busting his ass 24/7. Like, let's say he's working on a story and he's working late every night, and then Vince comes in Tuesday afternoon, strolling along, reading the stories, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I want to change this.
Hmm.
I was here. Like, what the heck, dude? You had how long, and now you want to change it? It's like
Hmm.
I see injuries coming along, but I'm sure the Road Dogg and anybody else are looking at injuries and they're gonna make their adjustments. They're gonna pivot. But then you got all these changes last minute, man. It would be annoying. I don't know how I could deal with that one at
Nah,
all.
I know
It's
in anything you have like anything where there's a story involved. Of course, this is an editor. I I get that type of a process, but when your editor is going out, essentially your editor being Vince McMahon goes out there and 5 seconds before your storyboard goes to publishing, he's like, no, let's change all of this other stuff.
mm-hmm,
That's a pain, especially considering how much work Road Dogg was putting into everything like that.
mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I wasn't too fond of how he responded on Twitter to the Becky Charlotte thing last year. Um, but from what I understand, everybody for the most part loved Road Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
He went out there and he was one of the most easygoing guys, in the back. But when you have this situation where Vince is coming around and basically telling him, you know what, I don't care about any of the work you just did. I'm changing everything to how I want it right now at the very last second, which is another problem with it. Gives you a nice little continuity issue that goes on from week to week.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from the fact it's basically telling Road Dogg like you're not worth shit.
You wasted your time.
Yeah, so I don't blame him one bit.
Nope. I'm just trying to figure out why they have so many meetings with these storylines. To be honest, you know, it. I think they need to just cut them down and be like, all right, what do you want for this person? What do you want for that person? String it out, make a storyboard, figure it
Mhm.
out, do something. But to have meetings like so late and so long, I don't get it.
I don't understand even. Now, granted, like I said, I don't have a detailed explanation in front of me of how the inner workings of each show is put together.
Right.
Um, but I can imagine that you have, I want to say, at least 20, 25 people that are coming together, putting ideas out there on the table for how we're going to work this 3 hour show for Raw, this 2 hour, soon to be 3 hour show for SmackDown. Um, but if that's the case, like, again, like I said, I don't know if this is already being done enough, but why wouldn't you have somebody say, all right, listen, you guys work on this right here. All right. You guys over here, you're gonna work on this next, block. And you guys over here, you're gonna work on this next block. As a matter of fact, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna delegate the women's division to you guys. We're gonna delegate the tag division to you guys. We're gonna delegate the mid card to you guys. Instead of having 382 different conversations going on in one setting or whatever. Like I said, I don't know how this is that they're working it, but something is a problem that's
Yeah.
happening between them. Is the scene that they're having to sit up here and have all of the meetings and everything going on at all times.
hmm Yeah. It seems like it's a cluster, and then and D Malenko. also resigned as well, and he was in charge of putting together the tag teams
Mhm.
and the what was that, the smaller matches with
Yeah,
smaller
well,
wrestlers,
the matches for like your non-giant size wrestlers or whatever and things like that.
which on SmackDown would be almost everybody.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
and here's an interesting thing, because that's a big loss that people don't realize
Hmm.
for WWE. And if he goes to AEW, it's a huge gain for them,
Yeah,
because a lot of the guys there are very technical.
yeah. You have a guy that's pretty much right now a free agent. He can do pretty much whatever he wants. So he can, if he wanted to go to Impact, he can go to Impact. If he wanted to go to Ring of Honor or New Japan or something like that, he can go sign on with them. Of course, because of the fact that you have this advent with AEW now, it's just like anybody who does anything, it's just like, oh my God, is they going to go to AEW? So that's like the other thing that he can sit up there and see.
AEW confirmed.
Yeah, I know. As a matter of fact, when I go quit my job or whatever, like Benny from the AEW confirmed. Is this what we're doing? Like, I don't know, maybe, but yeah, I don't understand what there. I don't want to sit up there and say because there hasn't been any real reason given for why it is that Dean Malenko decided to resign.
Mhm.
Um, but of course, with him stepping away and with Road Dogg stepping down, now you have okay. It's not just wrestlers. Now you have a problem with agents in the creative team.
And don't forget, Arn Anderson was fired too.
Yeah, and what is going on backstage that is causing all of these problems?
Hmm.
Dad, I mean, I don't want to sit up there and throw out a cliche line, but where there's smoke, there's fire. There's
Yeah,
something happening. It's just a matter of like everybody's keeping real hush hush about it.
I
And the
I
only
think
thing anybody can sit up here and bring up as being the common denominator is Vince or the power struggle between Stephanie and Triple H and Shane and what's his face? Kevin Dunn.
yeah, I think AEW being out there, even though they haven't gone live yet, but just putting on pay-per-views and selling out in minutes, and there being somebody that actually has done possible positive pay-per-view sales, unlike TNA, which their sales for pay-per-view have not been very big, and they have issues. Uh, I think that is allowing people to say, "Hey, there's a light at the tunnel, at the end of the tunnel, that is not WWE."
Mm-hmm.
And this goes on for producers, goes on for everybody. As much as I harp on producers lately, I'm starting to think it's not their fault. I'm starting to think it's more of like Vince uh, being power hungry and wanting control of everything completely, not just creative, but even like producing the show. So now it comes down to why do you even hire these guys
Mm-hmm.
if you're not going to let them do things right? You
I
know?
feel you. I feel you. I think like with what, in my opinion, and part of me not wanting to put everything on Vince probably has to more to do with nostalgia and the fact that without Vince McMahon or Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the wrestling industry would not be what it is today. And so part of me is trying to sit up there and give him a bit of a pass for it. But at the same time, when somebody is successful at doing something, you get the idea that they want to be stuck that they're stuck in their ways.
Hmm.
So just like how when we had the transition from when Hogan moved over to WCW, what was the first thing that Vince did? Move Lex Luger over from being he gave Lex Luger a completely unexplained face turn, turned him into this all American when he was I'm the narcissist, posing in the mirror and all kinds of other stuff like a week ago. Next thing you know, I'm running around with this red, white, and blue flag jacket, slamming Yokozuna on a submarine or whatever
Hip
that thing was.
toss. It was a hip toss.
Yeah, that thing.
It was a hip toss. I don't care what anybody
I'm
says.
like,
If you look at that video, it was a hip toss.
yeah, but you said it, he's just stuck in his way. But the whole industry wanted Bret Hart But he was just like, no, no, no. I have to have my I have to have my bulky, roided up blonde guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, I can see that as something. And the fact that he ended up not him, but he ended up being the death of WCW. Um, he ended up pretty much putting everybody out of business except for the WWE. And I gave you the comparison before we started, where Madden and 2K.
Hmm.
Now you have this lull in the Madden series because of the fact that and everybody's getting used to it. It's just like, oh well, we don't have to do much in order to, you know, we don't have to do anything to actually sell our product. We're the only product out there, so we don't have to do it. We don't have to put in that much effort to go out and have our fans purchase what we give them. We can just give them a nice little update, maybe give them a little something to make it shine a little bit more, and then okay, well they'll still purchase it every single year, every single time. Now with the advent of AEW, now I'm hoping, like I said, every day I hear something about AEW, I start hoping and praying that that company succeeds, just because I want to see the WWE pushed, and I want to see them sit up there and say, "Oh man, you know what? We need to get off our asses, and we need to start making this product something good."
Well, I think this goes before AEW because remember the independency was coming up, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of wrestlers were coming up from the independence, and the independency was building and building and building, where it's like they weren't really worried as much
Mm-hmm.
as somebody being established like AEW is right now, but they were worried about trying to cut it off before it began.
Yeah.
Like, so that's where all their signings were coming in. Like they signed this guy and this woman and this one from independent scene and this one from independent scene. They were hogging up all those independent stars to try and keep the independents down.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you have AEW, who's backed by a billionaire, they can kind of match salaries.
And if I remember correctly, Khan dwarfs the McMahon family when it comes to actual his value.
Yeah, because Vince was a billionaire, but at one point he went down. He's in the millions. I think last time I checked, he was like 800 because
Mm-hmm.
the stock had dropped, so he lost a bunch of money. So he
Mm-hmm.
went down from a billionaire down to a millionaire. But yeah, the Cons own a lot. They own the Jaguars, and then I think they own a soccer team in
Mm-hmm.
English Premier League, and now they're investing on AEW.
Mm-hmm.
So plus the added incentive that they're giving the wrestlers, their employees and health benefits, something that Vince doesn't do.
Yeah.
They cover medical expenses, like for surgery and stuff like that, but not the same as having medical insurance, though.
Right. Which of course everybody just taking them to task for now, and
Yeah,
rightly so. You got
yeah,
guys out there on the type of schedule that they're working; they need to be covered.
hmm yeah. They can't be taking over-the-counter drugs and expect them to be fine. No, just
Oh no!
get to a doctor, go to urgent care and get medicine, and
And
boom,
then
you'll be
told
fine.
that you're an independent contractor.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. And they're worried about their ratings, but yet they're not doing anything much to really fix it because they're losing so many people here behind the scenes, which is interesting because what I read earlier was that they're doing more focus groups to try and figure out what's wrong with them without even actually figuring out and look and listening to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what those focus groups are made of? It might be of just people that watch it once in a while, so they really might not have no clue what really is going on.
It could also be a bunch of corporate ass kissers that want to sit up there and just please Vince and say, "Hey, guys, nothing you're doing is wrong, man. It's the fans. They're just not worthy."
Yeah, and the thing is you're worried about the rate. They're concerned the ratings is they're trying to get it up because
Mm-hmm.
they're both at the two,
Mm-hmm.
low two, high two, like 2.8 around there. The thing is, SmackDown hasn't really lost much, but Raw has lost a lot. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, from what I'm hearing, is SmackDown Fox wants to make it 3 hours.
Right.
So here's the issue: SmackDown right off the bat was never in the threes. They've always been a high two, maybe a three once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But Raw was always the A show, so Raw was always over three. So now you want your B show to be your A show, but you need the ratings to go up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it's going to work out, man. To be honest, if they really wanted 3 hours, if I was WWE, I'd be like, all right, you know what? Let's split off the women and make them their own show. Fox, you get
I
an
would love
hour.
that.
You get an hour of the women's show only.
I would
Because
absolutely love that.
if you honestly want to start a women's revolution, if you actually are true to what you're saying, give them their own show. 1 hour. You can do enough in 1 hour with that roster of women you
Mhm.
have. And it might not be a lot because you have enough women there. You can follow the same format that NXT does with their wrestlers.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, the one thing that would turn heads with that, if you were to sit up there and say, like, okay, give the women their own show, is your casuals. Because of the fact that it's only a 1 hour show, what's going to end up happening? It's not going to have an actual TV slot going on the network. Um, so they're going to be like, oh, well, you guys don't have any women on your shows. What's going on with that? And then once you start trying to explain, like, listen, they have their own show over here. Then of course you're gonna get like the people that just always want to be negative about everything. And so, oh, so you guys have your shows all segregated and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. But it's not that.
Uh,
But here,
I,
here,
I would absolutely love the women wrestlers to have their own show. That way
yeah,
you can set it up so that these ladies actually have a dedicated time slot to go out there and perform, and you're not stuck dealing with, okay, we got to get Alexa Bliss her segment. We got to get Becky her segment because she's the champion.
mm-hmm.
We're obligated to have a Charlotte segment because she's Ric Flair's daughter. Um, and again, people, I'm not doing that because of the fact that I have anything against Charlotte. It's just the truth. And then, all right, we're gonna have our little throwaway Riot Squad thing.
You can get a lot done in an hour with the roster of women that they have.
Yeah, you can actually have more than one storyline going at the same time.
They
You
would
know,
have
we
to.
had
Go ahead, go ahead.
think about think about 2018, how it
Mm-hmm.
was in 2018. Ronda Rousey shows up at the Royal Rumble. All right, you have your storylines or whatever for the most part are Nia Jax going after the women's championship with Alexa Bliss, all right, leading up to WrestleMania. The other storyline that was going on was not on SmackDown, but I'm focusing mostly on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
The other storyline was Ronda Rousey versus Stephanie. Ronda and Kurt versus Stephanie and Triple H. That was the other storyline that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
After that, once Rousey won the women's championship at SummerSlam, what else was going on? Nothing. There was nothing really happening on Raw. The only thing that you were worried about was who's next in line for Ronda Rousey. And then the other thing that was happening was just a throwaway, 6-woman tag match that was just put together for no reason.
Yeah.
There was no other beef that was going on. There was nothing. You had that little start-stop feud between Sasha and Bayley, which is another reason why she's trying to get up out of there. But like I said, we didn't already pass that. There's no sense in bringing it back. If you have them in their own time slot, in their own venue, in their own show, in their own universe, then you have time to properly build stars from top to bottom. You have a tag division. You have you have your undercard, your mid card, or whatever. Then you have your main event.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not against a women's intercontinental championship or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, you can have your mid card there. You can
Mm-hmm.
actually build your mid card. Right now is you want the women to have a mid card, but if you look at the rosters, there's not enough to actually warrant a mid card.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you have the women's heavyweight title and you have the tag team titles. Now you're trying to
Right.
cater to two belts on two different shows. You can have it where the women's is part of SmackDown, kind of like Raw's 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You can have 1 hour dedicated to the women. But here's the issue though, because of the fact that they actually record 205 right before SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
So there is your issue: is where do you record the show? Women deserve it, and they should have it because of the fact you have a roster big enough for it. You just got to find space where to put it. It needs to be kind of like 205, where it's filmed and recorded as one of the main shows. That way, because if you don't, then what happens is you're segregating fans, especially the young little girls that are looking to see Bailey or
Mm-hmm.
Becky. They're like, oh, I can only watch it if they're on Raw, and then the Raw's
Mm-hmm.
not coming to my town. So there's become an issue. So what you can probably do is you can probably record half an hour on Raw, half an hour on SmackDown, and then kind of build it into one,
Mm-hmm.
and put it on the network, you know, and like have them do the dark matches.
Yeah.
Have 'em do the dark matches, but it would be on the network. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of then it sounds like like a power money move. And it is, but it actually will get you more sales for subscriptions for the network because
Yeah.
now you solidify them to the network. You got to watch them, especially if they write good storylines for them, like NXT does with theirs. Come on,
Mm-hmm.
man. It is there. It is there, and the women can do it. You have so many women on the sidelines because they had nothing for them,
Mm-hmm.
or they're not improving because they're not giving work. Like Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke is athletic, but
Mm-hmm.
she's not given enough matches and time to work, so she can't improve herself. She can't
Mm-hmm.
work the kinks out. It doesn't benefit her. Doesn't
And then
benefit
when she does
WWE.
show up on TV, it's real awkward and everything like that. Like, what is it? Well, right before WrestleMania,
Or
they gave
Ronda
her that
Rousey.
match against Ronda Rousey.
Hmm.
But before the match, she had a promo.
Hmm.
Entire promo. It sounded like she was crying.
Yeah, it was. It, I like the energy she brought, but it was like kind of a weird one. It was kind of like I know what she was trying to do, but the way it was coming out was like, eh.
Hmm.
So it's like
And
one of
then
those, yeah.
what was it? Right after Mania, she had that other promo or whatever where she came out and basically pronounced every single letter in every single word she was saying. That to me is just like, okay, she's been given the time or whatever, but she's not used to doing the promo, so she's trying to find her way.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, all right, I don't have a problem with that. Everybody has to find their way on the mic or whatever,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
But in order to do that, they actually have to have time on the mic.
Hmm.
You can't just sit up there and throw them out there 1 week, and then the next time they touch a mic is 6 months later.
Yeah.
So like all of the start stop that goes on with them, and it's not just them, but like this is what we're focusing on right now. All the start
Hmm.
stop that happens with the women, and then the over focus on some of them, whereas others are just sitting up there on the sideline twiddling their thumbs. Like that has to stop, man. That right
Yeah.
there, I'm pretty sure plays into the ratings. That right
Hmm.
there plays into the fact that you have a number of people wanting to leave. Like we went over to most of the people or whatever, but you forget Maria Kanellis came back and she got her start in WWE. She left or whatever, and then she came back and then turned into the first one eliminated from Battle Royals, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're gonna let their contract run out. I don't think they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna renew it. But here's the other issue though now that we're talking about. Even though we want this, I doubt it's gonna happen because of the fact they are what they're catering to the couples to keep them together.
Yep.
But we know it's more of to cater to Charlotte.
Yep.
Like, all right, so for the people listening out there, don't think we like bashing on Charlotte. Don't think we hate Charlotte. We don't. We like Charlotte. She's very good in the ring. She's a good. She deserves everything she gets, but she gets catered to because of who her the legacy she comes from. It's not her fault. It's a gift and a curse, pretty much. It's a gift and a
In
curse.
in order to basically expand on that, the saying is you can never have too much of a good thing. That's a lie. All right. As far as I'm concerned, athletically, technically, Charlotte is the best wrestler on the WWE women's roster.
Hmm.
To be honest with you, if you put her in the ring with some males, I'm pretty sure she could beat the living hell out of them. I wouldn't be surprised.
Nope.
The issue is the fact that she is pushed to the forefront far too much for my liking. As I hear people say, give somebody else a chance. Like I said, I have no problem with it. Back in the day when I was watching and I was sitting up there wondering why the hell The Rock was facing Al Snow rather than going for the WWE Championship like he should have been, I didn't understand it at the time. Now I do. Listen, you got to get this guy, you got to get this person out of the limelight for a while. How the hell am I supposed to miss you if you'll never leave? This is all I'm saying. Charlotte right now, being that in the position that she's in, she already has the single most title reigns out of any female wrestler in the history of the WWE. That is going all the way back to the Fabulous Moolah. She is right now, aside from Moolah and Trish Stratus, the longest reigning women's champion. She's held that title longer than anyone except for those two. I think she's behind Trish by about 200 days, and then she's behind Moolah by about 47 years. So, so I don't expect her to catch up to the Moolah. But like I said, you don't want to turn her into the ire of everybody else. I don't mind Charlotte being a heel. Charlotte's a great heel, right? The problem that I have with Charlotte is the fact that they won't give her something else to do besides I have to be in the main event.
Yeah.
No. When Ric Flair was wrestling towards the end of his career, now granted, this is the end of his career, we're not talking about his prime like we are with Charlotte. Ric Flair had feuds with other people. He had feuds outside of the championship. Hell, we had the whole retirement angle with him was him sitting up there basically just going up against different wrestlers and he could not lose or else he would, be forced to retire. Like I was sitting up here and I'm thinking to myself, like, even look at John Cena, right? Cena, we had Cena's reign of terror just like Triple H's. And now, or whatever, or not even now, like before he left, like right after after he won the title from The Rock, he kind of sort of fell off from the limelight after that. And then he started transitioning more into just, okay, I can do a high profile match without the belt being on the line. Yep. And for me, that's what I want to see that's what I want to see Charlotte transition into. I want her out of the title picture for the time being. Whereas, okay, when Ronda Rousey comes back, have a feud between the two of them. You already have a built-in story between the two of them. Ronda, you have never beaten me. And when we did face off one-on-one, I left you in the middle of the ring, covered in bruises after I beat the living hell out of you with a kendo stick. We faced off at WrestleMania. Who pinned you? Becky did. Becky didn't beat me. You didn't beat me neither. You got a built-in high profile, and there's the two of them together? Go ahead, let it happen. I will sit there with my popcorn like that Big E gif that shows up on Facebook every time.
I love that thing.
I will sit there. I will eat that up like it is steak sitting in front of me. I would love that as long as the title's not involved.
Right. Because you can move her to the tag team to kind of climb off of her. And you can still, and here's what the thing to do. Put in a tag team, build the titles. They've got to build those titles. They need to be built. But let's go back to what we were talking about and why we were saying that they're pandering to them.
Yeah.
On the down low, if you don't realize this. So, Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, and Andrade got moved to SmackDown. The B team got moved to SmackDown. Nikki Cross and Killian Dane were moved to Raw. The whole
along with the War Raiders moving up to Raw, which is the other part of it because of Sarah Logan.
Oh yeah, that's right. And the whole reason that they're saying this is done, well, the B team was moved over to add more of a tag team to SmackDown, is to keep couples together. And the reason why we're saying they're pandering to Charlotte is because if you haven't noticed and realized it yet, they actually are engaged. Andrade and Charlotte are engaged. I told Jay Jaquan this because he tagged me on a photo of them together, and
Mhm.
I was like, "What's that on her finger?" You saw a little like ring on her left hand, and I was like, "Oh, somebody's engaged." And next thing you know is they are engaged.
Yep.
So they got engaged wherever they went, Cancun or somewhere. So they got engaged over there. They haven't put the pictures up yet.
Mhm.
So they're catering to them, and it's fine. You want to keep couples together, but just be honest and say we're literally really catering more to Charlotte to keep her with her fiance. It's all right. We know. Just if you guys dig a little deeper, you'll see it.
Mhm.
We don't hate the woman. We like watching her matches. Is like Benny said. Is when you do too much for her and threw it in our face about it. It's just, come on, what about everybody else?
Yeah.
You know? And
That's the biggest issue that I have.
yeah, you're not the only one, brother. You're not the only one. And then now the War Raiders got another name change.
Oh man.
So
They're
in the,
now known as the Viking Raiders. I was wondering who was playing Madden or watching the NFL Network when they thought that one up.
I don't know, but all right. So in the Indies, they were known as War Machine.
Mm-hmm.
They go to NXT and they are rebranded as the War Raiders.
Now I understand why you had to do that because then you have a Marvel thing going on right there. You kind of sort of had to change that.
Right. And then when they get called up, they are the Viking Experience. People didn't like that, so they changed it to the what was that?
The Viking Raiders.
The Viking. No, there was another name after that. The Viking Experience. The what was it? Was it the Viking Raiders?
Yeah, I thought it was just the Viking Raiders that they
I
moved it.
thought there was
I may have
another
missed
name
it.
change. I don't even know. But yeah, they got another name change, the Viking Raiders now. I thought there was another name change again. But apparently, what I've been looking up at is the reason that they won't put them as the War Raiders is because there's an issue with the word war. Oh, I can't even pronounce it. I can't even talk now. There's an issue with the word war on the main show. Like they don't want to introduce anything in regards to war. But yeah, we got Amber Moon, who is
The War Goddess. I don't get it. I don't get it. And just last year, Dogs of War. Dogs of War. When you had Baron Corbin and you had was it no, that wasn't Baron Corbin. I'm sorry. That's the mid card of evil. He hadn't joined
yeah,
that one yet. He hadn't formed that.
no,
Um when we're talking about Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman
hmm
and Dolph Ziggler when he was a part of it. Like no, stop it. Just no. This is unnecessary.
yeah,
We know what war is. All right. I understand the idea that you don't want to have the crowd in out there chanting war, war, war when they come out or whatever. That's a PR no no. Okay, fine. All right. But you can sit up there and you can have them get another chant over. How many different chants does Stone Cold have? Stone Cold got the word what over to the point where they still chant that today.
yeah.
Like this, it's not hard. It is honestly not hard. Hell, what was it? If I remember correctly, back in the day, there used to be a wrestler by the name of Aldo Montoya who would go by the name of the Portuguese Man of War,
hmm
and they had no problem saying that.
Raw's
You
War.
had you have Raw's War, you have Warzone, which is a I, don't even ask me why it was that they had two different shows or whatever. But this is nothing new.
No, I
I don't understand it, and I never will. As far as I'm concerned, the two of them will always be known as Hanson and Rowe, and they will always be known as the War Raiders.
that's my other issue. Why change the names?
I don't know.
You want to change the name of the tag team? Fine, change the name of the tag team.
Mm-hmm.
Why change the name of the wrestlers?
Mm-hmm.
Hanson and Rowe. Now, what's that? I don't even know the new names anymore,
Eric
man.
and Eric
Uh,
and Ibar or Ebar or whatever his name is.
that's this week. Next week it'll probably be Michael and Tim, for
Yeah,
all we know. Like I don't know, man. It's like that's not even Viking. Like I don't know.
I don't
Makes
know.
no
And the
sense. And
crazy part about it is, if you knew the other thing about it is, if you think about it, what do Vikings do? Or did Vikings do? They
plunder.
went around, they plundered, they pillaged, they killed, they did whatever the hell they wanted to.
They're like war. They're warlike. They are warlike.
There you go. Who are you fooling? Who are you fooling? If you
I don't
want to
know,
take
man.
it even further, granted, you have the ultimate contradiction with her, but Kyrie sane. What do pirates do? The exact same thing that Vikings did,
Mhm.
except for the fact that Johnny Depp made being a pirate cool. So,
Good job,
like,
Johnny.
and then on top of that, like I said, Kyrie Sane is just super kawaii, and you can't think anything bad about her. So,
Yeah, yeah. And then like I don't know what they're thinking and what they're going because now, so they turned Kevin Owens heel,
Mhm.
and I don't think they had any plan of doing so. Because from what I was reading, I don't know if you read this too, is they were trying to make his character to be like kind of like a Dusty Rose type, you know,
Yeah.
like a regular Joe,
Mhm.
you know, every man that has regular issues. He likes to eat junk food, and he's like your every town guy.
Mhm.
And apparently, because they were actually thinking about turning Biggie heel, but because he got hurt, Daniel Bryan is hurt. There's nobody to actually push Kofi. They decided to turn Kevin Owens heel instead of picking somebody else from the pack and say, hey, you know what? We're going to give you a push, kind of like what they did with Kofi when Mustafa Ali got hurt. It worked with Kofi. Well, I want to work with somebody else.
Now, what I didn't hear about, at least not from any of the places that I normally look. I don't want to call them sources because I don't have no contact with them. Um, it's just basically me, reading their news and watching their news videos and things like that. So basically, what I had heard was Big E's injury really didn't affect it so much as it just put Kevin Owens in position for the heel turn. Um, the biggest issue was Daniel Bryan, is because Daniel Bryan was supposed to go out there and you were supposed to have the second of this the second classic with him and Kofi Kingston. Like the two of them were supposed to have a knockdown drag out brawl at Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the fact that he has this mysterious injury that nobody wants to talk about,
And it's not a head injury, apparently.
yeah, nobody wants to say anything exactly what it is, but because of the fact that they're being so secretive, everybody wants to, it's automatically going into people's minds that it's another head injury and they're scared to say something about it. But that was the biggest issue. When Daniel Bryan went out, they said, okay, crap, we don't have anybody credible to actually put in front of this guy because the problem is we have two monster heels right now, not including Lashley, but he's not really a monster, in Drew McIntyre and Lars Sullivan. Sullivan still needs to be built up. All right. You don't want to sit up there and put him out there against Kofi Kingston and have either Kofi get destroyed by a guy that's not ready, or have Lars have his push get derailed before it even gets started. And then the same thing with Drew McIntyre. What are we going to do with Drew McIntyre? You can't sit up there and have him get into a position where, all right, we want him to be the next top heel, but at the same time, we don't want to take the belt off of Kofi just yet. We're going to give him a little run with it. So you can't do that just there. So what they basically did was it was like, all right, we have a guy that's already established in Kevin Owens. So let's just nix the face turn for the time being. We'll put him in there with the New Day for a while, let him have a little bit of fun, and then give him the ultimate betrayal. Granted, I think they pulled the trigger a little too fast, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a whole lot of time before Money in the Bank. So I think what is it now? Like as of Monday, that's of today. What's it, like 2 weeks away or something like
Uh,
that?
Probably. But the thing I'm looking at is you could like you did it like I said before. You did it with Kofi. You pick somebody
Mhm.
out, put him in there. and he kind of won it. He won the crowd over.
Mm.
I think it's easier to piss off a crowd as a heel than as a face to win the crowd,
Yeah.
because you have to do so much as a face to win the crowd. As a
Mm.
heel, it's so easy. Oh, just freaking gouge the eyes, scrap the eyes, say something to the crowd, boom, boom, and just work off of that. For
Mm.
the face, though, it's so much more difficult,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like you can win dirty, and you can build a heel so much easier, so much faster. That's not a monster
This
in my
just popped
eyes.
into my mind. No, no, sorry, I'm sorry to cut you off. This just popped into my mind, but
Sorry.
this right here is where the Roman Reigns leukemia causes a problem for storyline reasons. It is because of the fact that we're still coming off of this high of Roman coming back. It's a little hard to say, okay, let's give this guy a heel turn. Roman's in a position right now, he can do pretty much whatever he wants. This is why I want Charlotte. Roman is in a spot right now where, all right, I'm building myself back up to be high profile again.
Mhm.
Right. I had this feud against Drew McIntyre. Granted, that feud wasn't, it wasn't great, but it was something. It was out of the limelight, but it was something that Roman could have done. Now you have the feud with Elias. Say, just for argument's sake, just to be a hypothetical, Roman did not go out with leukemia. Say he was there that entire time. At some point, he lost his title back to Brock. And then Seth Rollins came in and he became the Universal Champion. And then you turn around and you have Roman go over to SmackDown. All fine and good. Now, because of the fact that Roman has this fresh start, you could have turned him heel at this point. Turn him heel, have him be the one to put over Kofi. That to me probably would have been a little bit better. That honestly, in that case, would have made more sense to me than the Kevin Owens one because of the fact that Kevin Owens was just coming back to
Mhm.
being like, and he was being portrayed as this face in this entire time before like WrestleMania. Before when did he come back? He came back right before Fastlane.
No, no, he came back. Yeah, he did because he got the fascinating match with Daniel.
Yeah, with Daniel Bryan, and then it turned into the triple threat with Mustafa Ali and all of the other stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like it's a granted. Well, I'm talking in hypotheticals and things like that, so it's not like this is something that really could have happened. What I'm saying is, this is where having someone who was already an established babyface make that heel turn against him would have paid off more than somebody who was still trying to establish themselves as a babyface.
Mhm.
And like I was like, granted, Kevin Owens plays a great heel, so I'm pretty sure he's not going to disappoint. It's just a matter of like the what we got as a result is a little disappointing to me.
Yeah, I would have much rather like to see Kevin Owens as a face a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
A little longer, and just say like even cause the return of Biggie
Mm-hmm.
to be the reason Big Owens actually turns heel.
There you go. There
You
you go.
know,
You
because
guys cut me off as soon as Big E came back. That is perfect.
yeah, like I had you guys back during this feud and this feud and that feud,
Mm-hmm.
and what do I get? What do you, what do I get? Kofi. I didn't go after Kofi, and if they gave the mid card title, like the IC title to Xavier Woods, I didn't go after you, Kofi. I didn't go after you, Xavier Woods. Nothing. Big E comes back after so long, and
And
what
you guys
happens?
just take it straight to the curb. Yep.
Straight to the curve.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just turns heel. Like granted, yeah, it'll look bad because if he takes out all three of them, but like that, it gives the heel turn a purpose. Right
Yeah.
now, it's like why,
Why? Exactly.
why? Like, what's he gonna say? Oh, because I want the belt. Yeah, we know you want
Okay.
the belt. Everybody wants the belt, and that's kind of what he alluded to because he grabbed the belt. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I miss it when there's a purpose. Like,
Mm-hmm.
remember when Shawn Michaels turned on Marty Jannetty? Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm carrying the team.
Yep.
You know, when Andre the Giant turned on Hogan, why? Because I want a shot at the title.
Mm-hmm.
even though we're friends. And I can't get it because we're friends. Because I don't want to go against you as a friend. Like there was a bunch of heel turns back then that, like, if you look in the past, when they were done, they were like, ah, oh snap! Like you weren't expecting it. Now we were like kind of waiting because like, all right, it's gonna happen. Come on now, it's Kevin Owens, he's gonna do it. But if you actually put more of a storyline to it, and you like, all right, you give it a reason. Now it's like, now who's the bad guy? Is Kevin
Yeah.
Owens really the bad guy because he turned on them, or the New Day really the bad guy because as soon as Big E came back, they kicked him to the curb?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Like it's
what's that?
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. It's what I'm. It's one of the things that, like I said, I sit up here and I listen to a lot of wrestle talk, a lot of watch culture, a lot of cultaholic, and all those other things. What they call the justified heel.
Mm-hmm.
When your heel has a justified, stance.
Mm-hmm.
When even what they're saying is like kind of twisted, like Daniel Bryan leading up to WrestleMania. Nothing Daniel Bryan said when leading up to WrestleMania about Kofi Kingston was wrong. It's just he was a dick. So it
Well,
was just like it's just like, okay, you're right, but I hate you.
well, I had an issue with it. It was my
Mm,
issue with that one. Like, yeah, it was right, but it's like, dude, that was the same ploy that was used against you years
yeah,
ago. You know, it's like one of those, like, it doesn't work. You know, it could, like, yeah, it was, but it shouldn't have come from Daniel Bryan. If it came from like Vince, it would have been so much better.
now,
Which it started to towards the end.
mhm.
It started to, and it made sense. I'm like, all right, good. It's not coming from Daniel Bryan. But then they start going back, like, yeah, Daniel Bryan. I'm like, oh, dude, you can't use Daniel Bryan because it was used against him. So for
Mhm.
him to say it's asinine, it's like, you're a B plus player. Oh yeah, I used to be one too, but now I have the belt, so I'm not really a B plus player.
I,
No,
th- I
man.
think I think to me that actually worked out a little bit better just because of the fact that it all played into the whole hypocrite thing that it is with Daniel Bryan.
Mm,
When once he turned heel, he turned straight hypocrite. Everything
okay.
that he was doing was hypocritical.
Hmm.
So, and like I said, and to me, like not to get too far off the Kevin Owens train,
Hmm.
but one of the things that somebody was saying, and it honestly made me sit there and think, was a guy like Daniel Bryan is so good at being a heel that when Kofi Kingston grabbed his hands toward the end of the match and still got before he got then did the Trouble in Paradise and actually won the match, he
Hmm.
grabbed Daniel's arms and did Daniel stomps.
Hmm.
You had the crowd chanting yes, along with a man who has issues with concussions getting his head stomped in.
Yeah, it was
You
bad.
are that good of a heel that you managed to get the crowd that riled up against you, bruh. Daniel Bryan's a genius, man. I
Oh
can't,
yeah,
I not with this guy, yo.
yeah, he is. He is. He knows what he's doing, which is like kind of, it's kind of a so what I'm saying, what I'm looking for. Um, it it's bad because, like, I remember watching the Total Divas, and he would say like he couldn't see himself going doing something in the back
Mhm,
because he wants to be wrestling,
mhm,
but he has so much knowledge though. It's ridiculous how, like, how smart he is for this business
mhm,
and how much he can help. Like I remember there was an episode where they were talking about like if he came back, how he would change his style in order to kind of protect himself a little more.
mhm,
And he came up with this whole different style. It was him and Sami Zayn. He came up with this whole different style, especially if it was to fight Brock, which he kind of sort of did when I watched the match. I was like, what the? I'm like, wow, it's interesting. And like he just has all this stuff in his mind, in his head, and it's just like, dude, all right, please, just don't go too crazy. Just save yourself, like, and get ready for this job in the bag because you'll be great at it. You know, you have the mind. You're very smart. You know what you're doing. You know what happens in the background. You know how to work the crowd, and to pass that knowledge on to others will be so beneficial.
mhm.
You know, but the concern I have is that he might be the type that, like, I know when I was playing soccer and when I stopped playing for a while, I couldn't bear to watch it
Yeah,
because of the fact that I missed it.
yeah.
And uh, I know I couldn't play because for whatever reason, so I just wouldn't watch it.
Mhm.
You know, it took me a while to get over it, and I had a little bit of frustration issues too as well. It's another story. So I know what he meant,
Mhm.
but it took me years to get over that, and I started watching like normal again. Um, so I know where he's at, but he has a mind. And I'm just like, dude, come on, man, please just do something in the back. You can help so many, you know, and so we'll see what happens. You know, it's just going to be interesting, very interesting to see how things go with him. Hopefully, the injury is not as bad, and he just needs some time off. But again, like we're saying, they're not exposing anything. It's a secret that's held right to the chest.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying what it is, what's he got to do, nothing. They're just saying that it's an injury and he's just staying home.
Mhm. Mm.
So, but I'm looking here at the roster and I'm looking at people that they could pick out to start a feud with him
Mhm.
right off the top. Shelton Benjamin,
Yep.
Rowan
Yep.
to keep the feud to keep
The
the
Daniel
feud with him.
Bryan feud.
Daniel Bryan, yeah. Like, oh, you beat Daniel Bryan. Oh, he's home. He's getting ready. You know what? Let me soften you up for him when he returns.
As a matter of fact, has Rowan even been on TV since Daniel Bryan was? No. What is going on with
Since
this?
WrestleMania.
I know they hit him with the up, up, down, down, but I'm pretty sure that move isn't that devastating that it writes him off TV for a month. Come on.
You got Jinder Mahal. I mean,
Okay, Jinder's an a former WWE champion,
yeah.
and he has the Singh brothers, so that that pretty much neutralizes the fact that Kofi has the New Day in this corner.
hmm I mean, you could have used any of those instead of turning Kevin Owens heel so early.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, I
I
hate
would
I
I
hate
would
to
have thrown Randy Orton out there, but Randy Orton just lost a feud with AJ Styles, and I think he would have to win one in
mhm.
order to get back into that.
Yeah, I was gonna say his name too. You know, and then you don't want to break them up, I guess, because they want them to have a tag team title run or tag team run. But
Mm,
Nakamura and Rusev,
Rusev.
you know, but I just don't know what they're doing, man.
They're
I
not
really
doing
don't.
stars either, so like
Yeah,
as I mean, it's tag team either, so
no, and
you
you
know
didn't
why
really
they're together.
just didn't have to turn Kevin Owens heel so quickly.
Right.
You know, because like we were saying, the thought we're having, or the thought I had, sorry, is that they took advantage of Kofi and the high he was on to put the belt on him to keep it after Saudi Arabia. And what
Mhm.
I'm saying here is, and I'm letting everybody here know again, and I keep emphasizing this, he will keep that belt until after Saudi Arabia is done. After Saudi Arabia is done, he will lose that belt.
Mhm.
He will lose that belt because of the fact that Daniel Bryan doesn't want to go. Who knows who else doesn't want to go? Kofi is a company man. There's nothing wrong about it, but he will go to Saudi Arabia and do his job.
Mhm.
Daniel Bryan said no. John Cena has said no. Roman Reigns has said no last time they were doing the event there.
Mhm.
So my theory, the way I'm going with is they took advantage of him being on a high, put the belt on him, hold it to Saudi Arabia. Once that's passed, the countdown begins.
And I completely agree with you.
The countdown begins. I hate to say it, but that's what it seems like because if you don't, if for the people out there listening, if you don't pay attention to what's actually happening behind the scenes, what actually happens on the show, you're not paying attention. There's a lot of things that they do on the show, and they turn it so they look good, but they actually do it in so because other things didn't work out for them, like the
Mhm.
Divas Evolution, a lot like the pay per view for the women's, excuse me,
Yeah, evolution.
Evolution. It's not. They're not going to do another one
No,
because I think you told me you broke the news to us that they're going to have a women's match at the Saudi Arabia show,
they're
right?
supposed to be. They were talking of having the women's match at the Saudi Arabia show. The issue right now, and the reason why I don't believe that it's actually going to happen, is because had that been solidified, WWE would have been promoting the hell out of this.
hmm
You would see them talking about it on on their network. They would have it on the website. They would have it on the network. They would have it on Raw. They would have it on SmackDown. They would be out. They would have Charlotte and whoever else showing up on ESPN talking about this is how historic it is. and all
Yeah.
kinds of other stuff. That be the first ones to go over there and perform in an area where women are still looked at as less than human, pretty much, and
Mhm.
all kinds of other stuff. So I said, to me, I don't think it's actually going to happen. At least not yet.
Well, I think that's why they pushed it back
Mm-hmm.
because they're still trying to see if they can pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, they're gonna have to pay the women to not do a show,
Yep.
and I doubt they want to do that again because they did that the first time they held that first event in Saudi Arabia. Yep.
And they did
So
Greatest Royal Rumble, and even when they went around and did the did Crown Jewel, because if I remember correctly, Renee Young wasn't a part. She was either wasn't a part of the announce team the first time, or
the last, I think it was the
she
last
was
time
just
she was
in the
part of the
back.
announce
I
team.
know when she went when I know when they went to Crown Jewel when they did Crown Jewel, she went out there and she was covered up like she was in like almost complete garb. Like she was complete like from head to toe covered up for the most part, even most of her hands.
That
And I
was
was just like, all
the
right, that's
best
how
of the
they were
world.
pandering. Yeah, where when Crown Jewel
Hmm.
was, yeah, when they
Yeah, yeah,
had the
yeah,
best in the world tournament.
yeah. She was there. She was there. Yeah.
But like I said, I'm hoping. And I was honestly wondering how it is that they're gonna pull this off because, with the exception of a Tamina and what's up for Natalia, most of your women are about as skimpy comes when it comes to the ring gear.
Jax.
Yeah, not Jax is out with the injuries. She didn't even
Oh
count.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, talking about current roster right now.
Yeah,
Um, not Bailey had shows a belly.
Bailey's all midriff.
Uh,
Alexa Bliss, her freaking booty shorts that she be wearing all up her ass.
Charlotte Flair as well.
Yeah, same thing.
Mm,
I mean, Ruby Riot has pants, but she's like midriff.
yeah, and one she cuts off one of the legs on her pants.
Yeah.
Sarah Logan's midriff with shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Liv Morgan is pants bit with the midriff.
Midriff.
Um, Selena Vega's shorts, booty shorts with a midriff.
Mm-hmm.
Iconics midriff. No, Billy Kay I
Yeah.
think is covers up.
Peyton is definitely midriff though.
Yeah, Peyton's midriff. Last match they had, Peyton was midriff. They both wore pants. Peyton had a midriff though.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Kay was covered up. Oscar midriff.
Yeah, and she has the single leg too.
Yeah, Kari Sane, shorts and a midriff.
Yeah, Ember Moon, same thing. She wears the booty shorts with the midriff and the well with that little war goddess dress. War once again.
Who else is there? Like it's gonna be either there's almost 100% midriff,
Mm-hmm.
or actually let's just say keep it. There's like 80 to 90% midriff,
Mm-hmm.
and then pants is the majority, or not majority, but like booty shorts are like a majority. Sorry.
Yeah. It's around like 60-40.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's got to be like when Sasha and Alexa Bliss did that one match overseas. I can't remember what country they were in. It was a Muslim country, and they
Mm-hmm.
were covered up from like neck to toes. They were covered up, like even their hands were like I think they wore gloves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I have to watch it again, or they had like the fingerless gloves. I'm not sure, but they were covered up. Like
Yeah.
they were covered up. I was like, wow, not showing anything, but it was a big moment. But it was not Saudi Arabia though.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is going to be interesting. I doubt if they don't pull this off, there's no way they're going to put up another women's pay per view so
Which is
last
sad
minute.
because Evolution was one of the best pay-per-views of 2018.
Yes, it was. It was, and that's what I don't understand. Going back to before, the women need a show. Give the women a solo pay per view event.
There you go.
Like you can put it in a small venue. Who cares? But the fact that they have their own pay per view.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, bro. Come on. Come on. They deserve it.
Like you can sit up here and say like you don't have to go out there and put out for a now where was the last one? Wasn't the last one in Nassau Coliseum?
The only one, yeah. It was the only one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
You get
Coliseum.
you go out there in Nassau Coliseum. Now the here's a couple of things. Nassau Coliseum is a rundown building. All right. You have places like you don't have to sit up there and throw it in Madison Square Garden. You don't have to throw it in Barclays Center. You don't have to do anything like that. Prudential Center is right in the middle of Newark. Go ahead and do it.
Hmm.
What's the problem with that?
You could run it like you run the NXT events, small venues like
Yes.
that.
I
You know,
mean, if you're afraid that you're not going to sell, which to me is just like, no, you want to sit up there, you want to promote. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as I'm, you gotta spend money to make my. God damn it, Joe, stop sending me shit.
but see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If they're afraid that they're not going to sell, then they still start looking. Why not? And it's not the
Bro,
talent. It is not the talent. It comes
it
down
is your
to
booking
storylines.
decisions.
Hmm. Because the talent is there. The
Hmm.
women's talent is there, and it's only going to get better.
Hmm.
It's the booking that needs to get better.
I
I
feel
mean,
another article coming on.
yeah. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, again, this is another episode of The Count. Jaquan will be back for the next one. It
Yep.
was fun talking about shooting in the wind about everything. Till next time.
Yeah, man, you guys take it easy.